Hello YouTube, what is up? Piroctic here. In today's video we are gonna go over Titan's subclass Sentinel. We are gonna go over all of his skills. I'm gonna show you how the skills look and how they are working. And on top of that, I have linked all of his skills so you can understand the synergy between passive and active skills. But first, you know it. Intro. The Sentinel subclass is focused around the defense and the melee combat. His super is called Sentinel's Shield, and by pressing your super ability, he is gonna summon a shield of void light. And while the super is active, by pressing a left mouse click, he's gonna shield slam his opponents, he's gonna charge towards them. If you press right click, he's entering inside of his guard position. He becomes invulnerable on any kind of the damage. And on top of all of that, if you press the grenade hotkey, it is gonna throw his shield that is gonna ricochet between the enemies, causing huge AoE damage. After unlocking second shield passive, you're gonna get second charge of the shield throw. And my friends, this is huge. I just wanna point out, you can throw your shield right on the beginning of the super, you won't lose the super. The super is gonna be done when you deplete the super recharge bar. And what is the best thing that can actually happen when you're using the skill that has such a great offensive and defensive role? Even more defense, of course. You can also unlock the skill called Ward of Dawn that is gonna create the shielding dome around you that is gonna protect you and your allies. Let's talk about the super jumps now. The strafe lift skill is the best if you wanna travel on further distances, which means with the strafe lift you'll be able to jump the furthest. The catapult lift is gonna give strong initial burst, and to be honest, this skill is the worst of all of three, just because it is not giving you any extra benefits. How the animation looks with the catapult lift is first you jump, and after a short period of time, you're gonna get that burst to jump even higher. And if you wanna jump the highest, you're gonna use the high lift, because this jump is giving you the highest jump potential. Let's talk about the defense now. The Sentinel can pick between two defenses. The Sentinel's defensive ability is called Barricade, and you can pick between two of them. Rally Barricade is gonna create the small barricade, and after using that barricade it is gonna automatically position you into the crouch state. And while using aiming mode, you're gonna peek over the barricade and you will be able to shoot your enemies. If you release the key for aiming down the sight, it is gonna automatically cover you again behind the barricade, and it is gonna automatically reload the weapon that you are currently holding. This barricade works like a charm with the weapons that have a long reload time, because it is gonna increase your DPS by a mile. And the second barricade is called Towering Barricade. It is gonna again create the barricade in front of you, but in this case it is gonna be much taller. And by the way, you cannot shoot through this barricade. You can pick on left or right side, or you can go through the barricade exposing you, but giving you advantage to know when to take the damage and when not. The barricades have the duration, so after some time they are gonna deplete, and they are not indestructible. After some time, when the barricade takes enough damage, it is gonna break. With that said, let's go over the grenades now. The Sentinel can pick between 3 grenades: Suppressor Grenade, Magnetic Grenade, and the Void Wall Grenade. When the Suppressor Grenade explodes, it is gonna do the damage to the enemies, and on top of that, it is gonna silence your enemies. Your enemies won't be able to use any of their abilities, and there are gonna be probably some good situations in the PvP to use this grenade to silence the strong abilities from your opponents. Magnetic Grenade is a sticky grenade. When you throw it, if collides with your enemy, it is gonna stick on him, making him unable to move away, and after explosion it is gonna explode one more time, just to be extra sure that the enemy is dead, and his allies around him, of course. The Void Wall Grenade is the duration grenade. When you throw it on the floor, it is gonna create the void flame that has directional shape, so after dealing the damage after the explosion, it is gonna also create the damage over time for all the enemies that are moving through the void light. The Sentinel also has the passive skill that is complementing the grenades. If you kill your opponent with a grenade, it is gonna reduce the cooldown of your grenade ability. If I'm gonna play with the Sentinel, Magnetic Grenade is gonna be way to go for me just because of that passive skill. The reason why is because Magnetic Grenade is gonna create the biggest amount of damage, and it is the higher chance that my grenade is gonna kill the enemy, so it can recharge my grenade throw again. And now the reason why we are all here. Why we love the Sentinel. Why the Sentinel is so overpowered. Because of his melee abilities that are hilariously, ridiculously good. Are you ready? The Sentinel has the passive ability called Shield Bash. While you're sprinting, after a short period of time, your melee ability won't be melee ability anymore. By pressing melee, the Sentinel is gonna summon the shield that is gonna bash the opponents, and I quote, unleash a devastating Shield Bash, which means it is gonna create even more damage than the normal melee attack. That means huge AoE and more damage on the Shield Bash. Insane. And on top of that, it is gonna crowd control your enemies, it is gonna disorient them. If there is more enemies around you, when you're using the Shield Dash of course, the second passive ability is gonna trigger, in the trenches. If you kill your opponent with the Shield Bash, or opponents, it is gonna trigger in the trenches, that is gonna decrease the cooldown of your super. And on top of that, if you're even really low on health, let's say 1% of the HP, by killing the enemy it is gonna fully restore your HP. And on top of that, it is not gonna only restore your HP, by killing the opponent it is gonna also trigger the defensive strike that is gonna give you the overshield, or in the other words, it is gonna give you even more HP for the short period of time. And on top of that, since you have got the overshield from your defensive strike, you're gonna also trigger the passive skill called Turn of Tide. So whenever you kill the opponent, it is gonna drastically increase and your melee damage and the reload speed. The Sentinel is definitely one of my top picks for the subclasses, because this subclass is insane. If you're interested in the other subclasses, you can check my channel, I'm going to review all the subclasses in the next few days, so make sure you click that subscribe button, like if you like, dislike if you dislike. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one. Eroctic out.